You will never, ever feel poor faster than when you learn about this company. They sold a phone for $500,000, and it was delivered by helicopter. This isn't about the new iPhone or a Samsung. This is about a brand that most people have never even heard of, but that billionaires used to buy. They're called Vertu. And they had a crazy idea that a phone should be more like a Rolex watch than a piece of technology. But that idea, that single focus, it nearly destroyed them, and it created the most expensive, most insane phones ever made. So what is Vertu? You have to go back to 1998. The world was full of gray plastic Nokia phones. Everyone had one. And inside Nokia, a designer named Frank Nuovo had an idea. He looked at these phones that everyone was throwing away every year, and he looked at the world of luxury. He saw people spending $50,000 on a watch. A watch, and he thought, why don't we do that? For a phone. He wanted to create a luxury phone market, not just taking a normal phone and dipping it in gold. No, he wanted to build a luxury item from the ground up, an item that just happened to make calls. In 2002, after 4 years of secret work, Vertu was born as Nokia's secret ultra-luxury child. Their first phone was called the Signature, and it set the stage for everything. So what makes a phone cost $10,000, $20,000, or even $50,000? It's not the camera, it's not the apps. It's the materials. Vertu threw away the entire rulebook for making electronics. First, let's talk about the screen. Your iPhone or Android has Gorilla Glass. It's tough, it's good. Vertu thought that was cheap. They built their screens out of sapphire. Not just a little bit of sapphire, the entire screen was a huge, single, polished piece of sapphire. Crystal sapphire is a 9 on the Mohs hardness scale. The only thing harder is a diamond, at 10. You could take your house keys, a knife, a handful of sand, and just scrape it all over the screen. Nothing, not a single scratch. Do you know why Apple doesn't do this? Because that one piece of sapphire screen costs more than 10 entire iPhones. It's insanely expensive and difficult to make. Vertu didn't care. That was the minimum. Then there was the body of the phone. No plastic, no aerospace-grade aluminum, which is just regular aluminum with a good marketing name. Vertu used grade 5 titanium. This is the exact same metal they use to build jet engines and surgical implants. It's twice as strong as steel, but weighs 45% less. It feels different. It's cold, it's heavy in a way that feels important, and it's almost impossible to damage. The cost to use this? About 15 times more expensive than the aluminum in your phone, but the outside wasn't enough. They were obsessed with the feel of the phone. This is the craziest part. You know the keypad? On their signature phones, they didn't just put a little rubber dome under the key, they engineered the entire keypad like it was a Swiss watch. Under every single key, they put a tiny bearing made from a real ruby. They did this so that when you pressed a button, the click was perfect. Not too hard, not too soft. Just a perfect, solid, expensive-sounding click. They spent years getting that click right. They even used a 4.75 carat ruby for the main enter button and the back. Oh, the back wasn't glass or metal. It was hand-stitched leather. But not just any leather. We're talking calf skin, lizard skin, alligator skin, and even python skin. The same leathers that Hermes and Gucci use for their $1,000 bags. And to top it all off, these phones weren't made on an assembly line. They were built by hand. One single person, a master craftsman in England, would build your entire phone from start to finish. When they were done, they would sign their name on the inside of the phone, right next to the SIM card slot. It was like buying a piece of art. So you have this $20,000 phone. It's made of sapphire, titanium, and alligator skin. It has rubies in the keys. It feels amazing. You pick it up and you feel rich. But what could it actually do? This is where the entire story, the entire company, hits a massive, massive problem. While Vertu was spending all their time and money making the outside of the phone perfect, the rest of the world invented the smartphone. In 2007, the first iPhone came out, and suddenly people didn't just want a phone that made calls, they wanted a phone that had apps. A phone that could browse the internet, a phone with a good camera. And Vertu didn't have any of that. Their phones were on the inside terrible. They were laughably bad. They were spending $20,000 on a phone that had a worse camera than a $100 phone. They were running on an old, slow version of the Symbian operating system and later old versions of Android. We're talking $10,000 phones running Android KitKat in 2017. The processors were 2 or 3 years old. The screens were low resolution. They were, for all intents and purposes, beautiful, expensive bricks. This was the central problem. A millionaire would buy a Vertu. They'd show it off at a party. It looked amazing. But then they'd put it on the table next to someone with a brand new iPhone. And the iPhone could do a million things their $20,000 masterpiece couldn't. And the world of luxury hates being behind. Rich people don't mind spending money, but they hate looking stupid. And spending $20,000 on a phone that was slower than a budget Android phone made them look very stupid. The market started to change. Other companies like Caviar popped up. They did what Vertu should have done. They took the newest iPhone 15 Pro Max, the best of the best, and then they covered it in gold, diamonds, and alligator skin. So you got the status of the luxury materials, but you also had the best technology. Vertu was just selling an old dumb phone in a pretty dress. But Vertu had one last trick. One magic feature that no iPhone, no Samsung, no other phone on Earth had. And it was all because of one little button on the side of the phone. Often, it was a ruby. This was the Vertu Concierge button. You could be anywhere in the world. New York, London, Tokyo, the middle of the desert. You press this one button, and within seconds, a real, live human being would answer. This wasn't a call center. This was your personal assistant, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This team could do anything. You want a table for 2 at that new restaurant in Paris that's been booked solid for 6 months? You press the button, you say, "Get me a table tonight at 8." And the concierge team, who had personal relationships with every top restaurant, would make a call, you'd have your table. You're stuck in London and need to be in Dubai by morning? You press the button. "I need a private jet, wheels up in 2 hours." Done. You're at a party and you hear a song you like? You could hold the phone up, press the button, and say, "What is this song?" And the human on the other end would listen, find it, and tell you they were famous for handling impossible requests. One user asked the concierge to find the specific Hermes handbag his wife wanted, which was sold out everywhere in the world. The concierge team hunted one down and had it delivered to his hotel. Another person asked them to arrange a private after-hours tour of a museum. Done. This is what you were buying. The first year of the service was free, but after that, it cost over $3,000 a year. You weren't buying a phone, you were buying a membership card. You were buying a key to a secret club of people who could get anything they wanted, anytime. And for a while, this was enough. The people buying these phones had an iPhone in their other pocket for email. The Vertu was for status, it was for showing people you had access. This all led to the peak. The most insane, over-the-top, and ridiculous moment in Vertu's history. This was the climax of their materials over tech idea. They created a phone called the Vertu Signature Cobra. It was a look. It was a basic feature phone. It couldn't run apps. It couldn't browse the web. It was a candy bar phone, but it had a snake wrapped around it. A snake made of 439 rubies. The snake's eyes? 2 giant emeralds. The rest of the phone was covered in gold and more diamonds. They only made 8 of them in the entire world. The price? $360,000. Some reports say it was over $500,000 for a phone that could barely send a text message. And the best part? If you bought one of these in China, they didn't just mail it to you, they didn't use FedEx. No, they would deliver your phone to you by helicopter. This was the top. The absolute peak of luxury and, let's be honest, insanity. But the fall was coming. That concierge button? It turns out you can get a concierge service with a credit card. The materials? You can get a custom iPhone, and the bad tech? The bad tech finally caught up to them. Nokia sold Vertu. Then the new owners sold it. It got passed around like a hot potato. Finally, in 2017, the company collapsed. The UK manufacturing arm, where those single artisans built the phones, shut down. It was over. Vertu, the king of luxury phones, was dead, Or was it? Because here's the twist. They're not dead. They're back. A new company bought the name, and they've learned their lesson. They've finally understood the one thing they got wrong for 20 years. The new Vertu phones are actually good. They're making phones like the Metavertu 2. It's a flip phone called the Iron Flip. And they are packed with modern tech. They have the latest Snapdragon processors. They have beautiful, high refresh rate screens. They have good cameras. They have 5G. They even have weird modern billionaire stuff like Web3 and quantum encryption features. And yes, they are still wrapped in the most expensive materials in the world. You can still get them in alligator skin. You can still get them in carbon fiber and titanium. The Sapphire screen is still there. And the Concierge, it's back. But now it's called Ruby Talk. It's a mix of a powerful AI for simple requests and a real human team for the hard stuff. They're still wildly expensive, with prices from $5,000 to over $50,000 for a custom one. And they even have a new signature Cobra listed at over $500,000. But now when you buy one, you're not just buying a pretty brick. You're buying a piece of technology that actually works. Vertu's story is a warning. It's about a company that was so obsessed with the feeling of luxury that they forgot about the function of the product. They built a Rolex in a world that was inventing the Apple Watch. But now they've figured it out. They've found a way to be both. And for the 1% of the 1%, Vertu is back and ready to sell them a $50,000 phone that's finally as smart as it is beautiful.